So we found our second quadrant family members by doing pi minus theta, theta being the reference angle that I'm interested in. Now I want to move into the third quadrant, but this time I'm moving in a positive direction. So I'm not going to be minusing, I'm going to be doing what? Adding, because the positive direction is adding. So to get into the third quadrant, I will do pi plus theta. So again, I'm going to have those 3 more points. My 3 family members falling in that quadrant, but this time it's adding. So to find my first one, it is pi plus pi over 6. What do I get? Beautiful. Then I do pi plus pi over 4. Are you magic? You do that so quickly. And then I do pi plus pi over 3. 4 pi over 3, nice. Okay. Do you see a pattern on that one? It's 1 pi plus 1/6 more, 1/4 more, 1/3 more, meaning that I have 1 higher in the numerator than the denominator. 7 over 6, 5 over 6, 4 over 6. And again, yes, you're going to have to remember these, and yes, or either remember them or remember how to get them, is what I mean to say. Okay? All right. So the reference angle is the first quadrant angle, and it is the distance that an angle is from the x-axis. So when we get into the fourth quadrant, and again, my pencil, I'll just do my pencil mark here. My reference angle, its direction is going to go towards or back from, that's going to be the measure from this bottom side of the x-axis on the positive side. And so that means when we are finding this quadrant, I have to work from 2 pi. And then to get there, I move backwards, so I minus theta. So to find those families, or family members, relatives to our pi over 4, pi over 3, pi over 6 family, I'm going to do 2 pi minus theta to get into the fourth quadrant. So again, I have 3 points in here. Hi. Of course. I have one right here.
Thank you so much.
No problem. All right. 2 pi minus theta. So what is 2 pi minus pi over 6? That might be a little bit harder for us to kind of visualize. So 2 pi minus pi over 6. Remember, that's like 12 pi over 6 minus 1 pi over 6, or 11 pi over 6. Good? So I found a common denominator. This is 2 pi over 1. I multiplied the top and the bottom by 6 to get the pi over 6. I did 12 pi over 6 minus 1 pi over 6. Or I could think of 2 minus 1/6 if I'm just plugging it into my calculator. So my next one is 2 pi minus pi over 4, which is 8 pi over 4 minus 1 pi over 4, or 7 pi over 4. And then the pi over 3, 2 pi minus pi over 3, which is 6 pi over 3 minus 1 pi over 3, or 5 pi over 3. All right. Again, these are all of our relatives to our 3 main families plus our axes, all within 1 lap around the unit circle. What are we going to do with this? We are going to solve. We have to flip our brains around. We're going to be going backwards. I asked you yesterday to tell me what the sign of pi is. So we want to find the coordinate that would be the y coordinate at pi, and that is 0. So the sign of pi is 0. Now I want you to go the other way. we're going to be moving on to our problems on the next page. I want you to try and tell me when this occurs. Okay? So I have to find the angle number that's going to produce this answer. And so I have to look at it a little bit of a different way. This picture is going to help me, because I'm just going to be asking myself here this, because there's an equal sign. I need to find the angle measure. At what theta measure is the y coordinate 1? So I look back at my picture. Well, I know it's not any of the families, right? Because none of the families have 1 as any of the coordinates. So it's got to be the axes. So I move around the axes. At which angle is the y coordinate 1? That's my answer. Theta is pi over 2. I'm moving backwards. It gets trickier, though, when we deal with the actual families. And that's because there are 2 places where this can happen. The cosine is positive in the first quadrant and in the fourth quadrant. Why do I care about it being positive? Because this value here is a positive number. All right? So when I go through this process, when I'm looking at this, I'm asking myself, when, first of all, is the cosine going to be the square root of 2 over 2? So I want to find the family. It's in the pi over 4 family. And when is the cosine positive? And that's in the first and the fourth. And I know that again because it goes cosine, sine, and that's where my cosine value is positive. So I look in here, I'm the pi over 4 family in the first and the fourth. Here's the first quadrant pi over 4. Here's the fourth quadrant pi over 4. My answer to this problem is theta equals pi over 4 and theta equals 7 pi over 4. My first quadrant pi over 4, my fourth quadrant pi over 4. Final answer. Okay? So I'm trying to figure out the family or the axis. And then I need to also figure out like the region or the quadrant. So I have a negative number here. Got a negative square root of 3 over 2. I'm interested in sine. When is the sine negative? In which quadrants is the sine negative? Definitely 4 and 3. I think I heard that, right? 3 and 4. If I look back at my picture, sine negative, definitely third and fourth quadrant. All right? Then I'm going to look at this number. In which family or axis is the second coordinate the square root of 3 over 2? So I can go back to my originals, or I can even just jot them down. Maybe I'll jot them down at the top. Pi over 3 is 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. Pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. Pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2, 1/2. So in which family is the second coordinate, the y, the sine, square root of 3 over 2? My answer there is the pi over 3 family, because there it is. Again, it goes cosine, sine square root of 3 over 2 in the third and the fourth. So I go into here and I figure out the third or and the fourth pi over 3 family. 4 pi over 3, 5 pi over 3. Theta is 4 pi over 3. Theta is 5 pi over 3. Those are my two answers. Are you following the process? Is that okay? Kind of getting it? Okay. A lot to think about. And this picture here, you are either going to have to be able to duplicate yourself, like figure out how to get the values, or memorize the values, because you're going to want to be able to work your way through, all right? I'm not going to refer to this. I'm not going to take this picture back anymore, okay? I'm not going to put it up here anymore. I'll let you guys look at the picture on your own and see if you can figure out what I'm talking about, all right? So I'm not going to point them out. But what I'm asking here is, at what point is the cosine -1? So what angle is the x-coordinate -1? Pi. Theta is pi. Everybody okay with that? Is there any other place where cosine is -1? No. There's another place where sine is -1, and there's a place where cosine is +1, but there is no other place where it's -1, so I only have one answer for that. Done and done. All right, moving on. When is the sine 1/2? In what family or axis is the y-coordinate 1/2? Pi over 6. Okay, this is a positive value. When is the sine positive? In which quadrants is the value of the sine or the y-coordinate going to be positive? I heard a 1 and a 2. So my answers are the first quadrant, pi over 6. That's an easy one. And the second quadrant, pi over 6. That one I have to maybe do a little thinking on. Beautiful. All right, cosine -1/2. Again, think about what you're thinking. First of all, talking about cosine, I'm talking about the x-coordinate. When is the x-coordinate 1/2? Pi over 3 family. When is the x-coordinate negative? Second and third. And so my thetas are the pi over 3 family in the second and the third. Awesome. Finish off with a square root of 2 over 2. When is the sine the square root of 2 over 2? Pi over 4. When is the sine negative? Second coordinate negative 3 and 4. Theta is 5 pi over 4. That's the fourth quadrant or third quadrant, and 7 pi over 4. Okay. All right. Last one. When is the cosine 2? You can look all over that paper and you are never going to find 2, are you? Hello, sweetheart. She is, yes. Yeah. Yep, all right. Yep, I forgot to remind you, Ashley, you have your meeting today. It was supposed to be at 10. Okay, so when is the cosine 2? Can you find it? Is it anywhere on your sheet? Cosine 2 anywhere, 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 anywhere. It's not going to happen. That's not good to say it like that. No solution. Now, I have to be careful with no solution because sometimes we're going to have values like later on in another chapter, we're going to have values of cosine that are out of our families. And we can still solve them. We just can't solve this one. This is truly not a solution because when we work around the unit circle, the largest value cosine and sine can ever be is 1. Our cosine and our sine are restricted between -1 and +1, okay? So you're now free to work on your assignment. And let me do a little adjusting on the assignment.